The night after the crucifixion of Jesus Christ was long and heavy. Jerusalem, once filled with noise and celebration, had fallen into a strange and painful silence. The one who had healed the sick opened blind eyes, and raised the dead had been nailed to a cross and buried in a sealed tomb. To many, it seemed like the end. His followers were broken. The disciples hid themselves behind closed doors, afraid that the same fate that had come upon their master might soon come upon them. Their hearts were filled with confusion, fear, and sorrow. Everything they had believed and now felt uncertain. But while men hid in fear, a group of women prepared to act in love. Very early on the first day of the week, while the sky was still painted with the soft colors of dawn, several women made their way quietly toward the tomb. Among them were Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, Salome. They carried spices in their hands, prepared to anoint the body of Jesus as a final act of love and respect. Their steps were slow, their hearts heavy. As they walked along the quiet path, one concern troubled them deeply. "Who will roll away the stone for us?" they asked one another. The stone that sealed the tomb was large and heavy, far beyond what they could move on their own. Still, they continued walking. Love pushed them forward, even when hope seemed lost. But when they reached the tomb, something unexpected stopped them in their tracks. The stone had already been rolled away. It was no longer sealing the entrance. The tomb was open. The women froze, exchanging fearful glances. Slowly, with trembling hearts, they stepped forward and looked inside. The body of Jesus was gone. Instead, they saw a young man dressed in a shining white robe sitting on the right side. His appearance was bright, almost radiant, and it filled the place with an otherworldly presence. The women were terrified, but he spoke gently. "Do not be afraid. You are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He is not here. He has risen just as he said." The words echoed in their minds. "He has risen. Could it be true?" The angel continued, "Go tell his disciples and Peter that he is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him." The women rushed out of the tomb, overwhelmed. Their hearts were beating fast, not just with fear, but with something else, something new: hope. As they ran to tell the disciples, something incredible happened along the way. Suddenly, someone stood before them. It was Jesus Christ, alive, not a vision, not a dream, real. They stopped instantly, overcome with awe and disbelief. Then, falling at his feet, they held on to him and worshipped him. Tears filled their eyes, but these were no longer tears of sorrow. Jesus spoke to them with calm authority. "Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There they will see me." The women obeyed immediately, their fear now replaced with joy. When Mary Magdalene and the other women reached the disciples, they shared the incredible news. "He is alive!" But the disciples found it difficult to believe. It sounded impossible. Still, Simon Peter and another disciple ran toward the tomb to see for themselves. They ran as fast as they could, their hearts filled with urgency. When they arrived, they entered the tomb. It was empty, but the burial cloths were still there, neatly folded, undisturbed. This was not the work of thieves. Something supernatural had happened. The disciples left, still trying to understand. But Mary Magdalene did not leave. She remained outside the tomb, weeping. The pain of losing Jesus still lingered in her heart, even with the strange events she had witnessed. She bent down and looked into the tomb once more. This time, she saw two angels in white, seated where the body of Jesus had been. They asked her, "Woman, why are you crying?" "They have taken my Lord away," she said, "and I do not know where they have put him." As she spoke, she turned around. A man stood there. But through her tears, she did not recognize him. "Woman," he asked gently, "why are you crying?" "Who are you looking for?" Thinking he was the gardener, she pleaded. "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have put him." Then he spoke her name. Mary. In that single word, everything changed. She recognized his voice. She looked closely. It was him. "Teacher," she cried out, overwhelmed with joy. Jesus Christ was alive. Later that evening, the disciples gathered together in a locked room. Fear still held them. They were afraid of the authorities. Suddenly, without warning, Jesus stood among them. "Peace be with you," he said. They were startled and afraid, thinking they had seen a ghost. But Jesus showed them his hands and his side. The wounds were still there. It was truly him, alive. Joy filled the room. The fear that had controlled them began to fade. One of the disciples, Thomas the Apostle, was not present when Jesus first appeared. When the others told him, "We have seen the Lord," he refused to believe. "Unless I see the nail marks in his hands and touch them," he said, "I will not believe." 8 days later, the disciples were together again. This time, Thomas was with them. Once again, Jesus appeared. He turned directly to Thomas and said, "Put your finger here, see my hands, reach out your hand and put it into my side. Stop doubting and believe." Thomas fell before him, overcome. "My Lord and my God," he declared. The resurrection of Jesus Christ changed everything. It was not just a miracle, it was victory. Victory over death, victory over sin, victory over fear. The cross was not the end, it was the beginning. Because he lives, hope lives. Because he rose, the story did not end in darkness. The women who came to the tomb in sorrow became the first messengers of joy. The disciples who hid in fear would soon stand boldly before nations. The message of Jesus would spread across the world, touching hearts, changing lives, and bringing hope where there was none. And the tomb remained empty forever.